All right, so hello everyone. So this is Ask Me Anything session. So I could just listen to questions. Yeah, I'll do a brief summary of the OCA infrastructure and then open the floor to question. So the reason we are doing all this is to enable the community to work, as simple as that. OCA is big. That's the number of modules. Maybe I'll share my screen. Where is it? Oh, shit. So that's the most recent stats. This line is 2000. So that's quite a lot of modules. And on PyPI, we are the single account with the most projects, like 11,000 projects on PyPI, just on the OCA account. So we have been noticed by the PyPI team. And so that's, as you know, 200 repositories with hundreds of contributors and thousands of modules. So the reason we have this infrastructure is really to support the contribution process, to ensure that we have a baseline quality. The tools we provide don't create the quality, but at least they help. We have a baseline quality level with linters, code quality checks, license checks, and so on and so on. And of course, everything to run the test suites. What we are trying to do is to make the contribution process as easy as possible. It's still not perfect, and we can always improve, but I think it has improved over time. Another goal is to help ensure consistency across repositories, because that's very particular in OCA compared to other open source projects that we have so many repositories. And so trying to ensure consistency is important, but also at the same time trying not to disturb the working of existing repositories when we introduce new rules and so on and so on. Also, things we are trying to do is promote visibility, like the README generator is important to give consistency to our add-ons. So there has been work on that also to make sure that the READMEs are consistent, because that gives visibility to the OCA module. When you look at an OCA README, you recognize it. Also, one goal is to make the installation of OCA add-ons as easy as possible to a variety of user populations. That can be people downloading from the Odoo App Store, although it's not the best maintained one. We have people installing with Git submodule, using them on Odoo SH, on premises, and so on. One issue we had in the past is finding dependencies across all those repositories. So today, for people who want to try some OCA modules, they can just type pip install the name of the module to try it. It will get all the dependencies. And for some modules, it's important because when you have to look at the dependencies in 5 or 10 different repositories for some, and that exists, it can be very difficult. And also, by doing that, we try to keep the complexity of the infrastructure under control, which is an important topic because the maintenance team is really small. That's basically me, with some help of Simone, Alexander, and some other from type to type. So one thing I've been doing in the past is splitting all that in small tools that are easier to maintain individually. and as a side effect can also be useful for your custom code and your own CI tools. So yeah, those are the reason we are doing all this. And what we have today looks a little bit like this. So at the center, we have GitHub, of course, where you push your code. And there are lots of things happening when you create a pull request. First thing is the CI checks. I'm not talking about Travis anymore because we really want to migrate out of Travis. All the new branches are on GitHub Action. And I recently sent an email to the contributors mailing list to explain how you can migrate existing repositories from Travis to GitHub Action. The reasons are twofold. Travis has become a little bit expensive. It's slow compared to GitHub Actions. And also the maintainer quality tools that originate from the very beginning of OCA have lived past their due date, let's say, and they were really difficult to maintain, and so we want to drop those. And so in GitHub Actions, we run the pre-commit tests, which basically run all the linters. And we introduce pre-commit because it allows you to really run all the linters locally with the certainty that what you are going to run locally is exactly the same to what is going to run in the CI. And then we run all the tests. When the tests are successful and we are on a main branch, we generate the POT files. So we extract the translation template from the modules that are loaded in the test database, and the CI is pushing them back to GitHub Actions. And from that, we have a Weblate instance that listening to push events and is downloading the POT files, updating the translation, adding new terms to translate. And when translators do their work, they push back the translation to github.com. So that's all automatic. Another thing that happens when you do pull request is that there is the Runboat that is starting, so you get everything you need to do functional testing, manual testing on the pull request. And this also happens on all the main branches, so all the main branches are available on Runboat. We have the code coverage also running on CodeCov. Then we have the publication to PyPI. So when you merge, the bot is basically building a Python wheel and publishing it to PyPI and to our own wheelhouse.community.org. We do that because we need a way to make sure that we test OCA modules only with OCA add-ons from PyPI, and that we don't start testing an OCA module that would depend on another add-on that is not in OCA. We have that sometimes, so there is a protection there. And then the bot, of course, you know it. When you merge a pull request, there are a few features so you can launch the merge and forget about it without even needing to wait for everything to be green. What else do we have? We have the CLA bot, so that's working with the Odoo database. So we have the Odoo database of the OCA where we have all information about the contacts, contributors, and so on. And those who have signed a CLA have a special tags on their partner contacts, so the CLA bot can check on the pull request who has signed the CLA or not. The Odoo database is also maintaining the database of PSC members. So for each project, we know who is a PSC member. And so we have a tool that synchronizes the GitHub teams from the content of the Odoo database. So when you request to be part of a PSC member, someone is adding you to the PSC database in the Odoo instance, and that is pushed nightly to the teams in GitHub. And finally, we download all the code with a module that is also on GitHub, which is called Interface GitHub, and that basically maintains a database of all our add-ons with some statistics that allow to generate the little chart that I showed you before, and also publishing all the apps to the Odoo Community App Store, which is basically an Odoo web shop customized to let you download code from there, and more importantly, search for what is available in OCA. Yes.
Yeah, a small interruption for the logistics of the event. So we will take the group pictures like in 15 minutes, just after this talk.
Yes, so
for the light, yes.
Good
so
idea.
Please take your shirt, and we will gather in the court, in the patio, just there. So below, right? Okay. And hurry for the light. Thank you.
So yeah, that's the overview. And since it's a question and answer session, I'm open to questions. And maybe use the mic. And if there are no questions, yes.
How is manage module versions? And where is this part of the OCA GitHub bot, I think? But
the module version?
Version, well, yes. When if I create a pull request for an existing module, I think PFC, PCASC, yes. When they merge my pull request, they upgrade also the module versions.
Yes, so that's part of the GitHub bot. That's one of the things that the merge command of the GitHub bot is doing. So when the tests are successful, is going to do several things actually. Is going to first regenerate the POT files to get the newest terms in the module. And it's also going to increase the version number according to what you have set in the merge comment, if you want to increase the patch level, minor or major number, and then is committing or doing the merge commit in the main branch.
It's only a human decision.
Yes, it's only a human decision. The rule is to follow kind of semantic versioning, so using the patch when you just fix a bug but don't need a database upgrade. At least use the minor version when, at minimum, when your change requires a database upgrade, like when you have new views or new fields, and then major when you do backward incompatible changes. In that respect, the policy is different from the Odoo, which has a strict stable policy to not change the data model. In OCA, there is no such policy, and it's very important to have some dynamism in the evolution of the modules. But so we ask contributors to follow semantic versioning for changes, yes.
Is there also a script to push modules to Odoo App Store?
No, because that's not the way it works with the Odoo App Store. With the Odoo App Store, you need to tell it which repositories and branches it needs to follow and download. And that's difficult for us because there is no API in the Odoo App Store. So when you add each year, we should go there and add the 200 new branches manually. There is no way to automate that, unfortunately. And also there are various issues, like sometimes we have modules that have changed repositories or changed owners. Like when a module was, I don't know, in the Shop Invader repository and then went to OCA. If it was published on the App Store under Shop Invader, then we need a manual intervention. I think we need to contact support actually to transfer it. Also, the App Store is doing license compatibility checks, which is very good. But in the past, we didn't do that in OCA. Now we do it in the CI with the latest templates. I think it's in version 15 or 14. We check the compatibility of the license, but sometimes, and there are many errors, like you have an AGPL module that depends on an LGPL module, and you can't do that, and so that's blocking on the App Store. And so we have many reasons for which your add-on is not going to appear on the App Store, and unfortunately it's a bit painful to manage at the moment. So yeah, if you are looking for, but I don't know if you have people amongst you who actually install OCA modules from the App Store or in real life, I mean. Ah, okay. It'd be interesting why you do that and how you do it. Because yeah, it's we can say it's really well maintained at the moment. We lack a bit the tooling for that. So if you search for something, better go either on PyPI, because there is an Odoo classifier, so you can find all modules which use the Odoo framework. You can find them on PyPI or on the Odoo Community App Store. Yeah.
Also, I have a question about Weblate.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's a good place to ask, but
sure.
It's on every module you have the technical fields you need to retranslate. I'm not sure if we can have a way to have the same translation on every technical fields, like last modified by and so on.
That's a good question. Honestly, I've not given much attention to Weblate myself recently. There must be possibilities, like there is a mechanism, there is translation memory mechanism, which could help for that. Also, one thing we could investigate is if we could put all the branches of a same repository on the same project in Weblate, so they could more easily exchange translation inside the same project, things like that. I really welcome help on that, so if people want to experiment with those, that's very welcome. That's not very risky, honestly, because the truth of our translation is in GitHub in any case. So even if we break our Weblate setup, we can still rebuild it. We need to preserve the users, of course, but for the rest, the creation of project component, it's automated. There is a script that automatically creates new projects and new component. And so we would need to improve that mechanism. I'm sure there are possibilities. But I don't know, Martin, maybe you can say, you still use Transifex at Odoo, right? And for that, how do you do for the common terms, like the same terms that come on every module?
On Transifex, there is the translation memory.
Yeah.
So we enable it for all the different Odoo versions. And so if a term is a 100% match, it reuses the most popular translation.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be an issue for fields like state or things like this, but most of the time it really helps the translation. When we release a new version, there is like 70% that is common. So,
So yeah, translations memories is probably the way to go, but we really welcome some help. So if people want to, we need to do a Weblate upgrade, for instance, and then see if there are new features that we could benefit and see, yeah, if we can use translation memories, for instance, across projects, or can we, and if yes, perhaps the solution is easy. If not, maybe we need to merge the projects together. So there is some experimenting to do. This Weblate interface was done, I think, in Sevilla or something at an OCA sprint, by the way, back then. Sorry. Other questions? All right then. So thank you very much. And then we go downstairs for the picture. All right. Thank you.